All right, let's bring in political commentator and friend of mine, Ameshia Cross. Ameshia, I hope you heard the monologue. I wanted you to come in and weigh in on what's going on. The agenda-driven media right now seems to lean so far left. Am I wrong? Do you disagree with me?
So I think that it depends on the story. Right now, in the context of the one that you just shared, obviously, media jumped on it because it was a celebrity. If you're from Chicago, like I am, you knew the minute that this story came out that it was fake, it was phony, and it didn't deserve any real attention. But I do think that sometimes the media elevates stories that honestly are told in a way that they shouldn't be, and they run with those stories, and it gets regurgitated across multiple stations. So I do miss those days that you talked about earlier, where we had this more unbiased media that just told the straight news. Sadly, those days are long gone.
So, and during the monologue, I pointed out, let's relate this to the Kyle Rittenhouse story, trial, fallout. Prior to the trial, prior to all the evidence being presented, the left-wing media really had Kyle A, guilty, but also B, a white supremacist, and anyone who supported him as such as well, including, not to mention Donald Trump. But Chris Wallace over at Fox tried to nail Donald Trump in a debate saying, do you disagree with the white supremacist Kyle Rittenhouse? Fortunately for Trump, he never bid on Wallace's BS. But again, the media runs with the story before the narrative that they love before they actually vet it. Isn't it the same thing with Rittenhouse and maybe even this guy in Waukesha, Wisconsin?
The Rittenhouse trial in and of itself proved that a lot of what the media was pushing about that case was absolutely incorrect. And we saw that during the course of the trial in and of itself. In terms of some of the aggressors on site, the video that was released, none of that was actually shown by the media. And, you know, when you're talking about somebody who's 17 years old, it's very hard to say, okay, unless this person has a swastika on their arm or has gone out of their way to create some type of racial animus that is shown across social media and other channels, that is who they are. And those things weren't present in this case. Just because somebody showed up at a protest doesn't necessarily mean that they are anti-Black or that they are haters of Black people. So I think that agenda in and of itself honestly hurt more than anything in this case in particular.
Now, let me ask you what you think about this whole idea that the left and Joe Biden, president, says he wants to go with cashless bail. We just saw this guy, the Kenosha driver, I'm sorry, the Waukesha driver, out on a $1,000 cash bail, killed 6 people. Do you disagree with President Biden's idea of cashless bail in America?
Well, Eric, as you probably know, I worked for the Pretrial Justice Institute for a very long time, and its main goal was to end the process of money bail, cash bail. So I personally stand beside ending cash bail. In this case, it would not have been appropriate. And I say that because as somebody who's worked for an organization that is for ending cash bail, it is for nonviolent criminals. This guy committed multiple violent acts. So even under that progress, he should have been locked up. We don't know his mental health status or anything else, but we do know that he was abusive towards towards a woman in his life. We know that he had committed some type of sexual abuse. We know that he still should have been locked up. There's absolutely no reason why he should have ever gotten out on bail. He is a violent criminal.
All right, let me play a soundbite. I want to play a soundbite. This is Eddie Johnson, police chief in Chicago at the time of the Jussie Smollett hoax fiasco going on. And the reason why I want everyone to understand, Ameshia Cross's father is or was a cop in Chicago, so she has vested interest in what's going on here. Take a listen.
But to put the national spotlight on Chicago for something that is both egregious and untrue is simply shameful. I'm also concerned about what this means moving forward for hate crimes.
Given what you know, who you are, Ameshia, your father, a cop, a well-respected cop in Chicago, what do you think should happen to Jussie Smollett?
You know, I would have hoped that he would have been found guilty of all of the 4 felony charges that he has against him. This is a man who knowingly told a lie, created a lie. It was negative 26 degrees outside the day that he said he was walking to a subway and got attacked. 26 officers were on this case. Over 30,000 man hours and countless, hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on a case that honestly was not even worth the conversation. It's frustrating because, as you know, in Chicago, there is violent crime. In Chicago, there is brutality. In Chicago, people are getting robbed. People are getting murdered. It's not safe on many streets. we have to be aware of this fact. And to think that there were 26 officers pulled off of their post to investigate something that was a complete lie, the level of egregiousness here is just beyond me. And I do think that there should be some serious penalty associated with it.
Very good. Ameshia Cross, thank you. And also, do me a favor. Thank your father for his service to the city of Chicago, my hometown. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.